Welcome to the second volume of our spine-chilling series, Horrifying Dating App Stories. In the world of online dating, you never know who you're going to meet or what kind of experiences you might have. Sometimes, things can take a dark and terrifying turn. In this video, we'll be sharing 3 real-life accounts of people who have had horrifying experiences while using dating apps. From creepy encounters to terrifying encounters with dangerous individuals, these stories will make you think twice before swiping right. So, grab a seat and get ready to be frightened as we delve into the world of online dating nightmares. Story 1. It had been over a year since I joined the dating app. I'd swiped through countless profiles, hoping to find that one special person who would make my heart skip a beat. And then one day, I stumbled upon her profile. Her name was Emily, and she was simply stunning. I was struck by her beauty and knew I had to talk to her. We hit it off immediately. We texted and video called for hours, and I found myself getting lost in her gorgeous blue eyes. She was intelligent, witty, and had a heart of gold. I felt like I'd finally found someone who understood me. After a month of talking, we decided it was time to meet in person. Emily was nervous about showing me her scars, but I reassured her that they didn't matter to me. She'd gone through a traumatic accident, and I admired her strength in overcoming it. She finally agreed to come over to my place, and to be very honest, I was very nervous, as I didn't know how she would look. But when she arrived, I was enchanted by her beauty. She was even more stunning in person than in her pictures. She looked perfect with the scars. We spent the evening talking and laughing, and I felt like I'd found my soulmate. As the night grew late, we cuddled up in bed together. I was in a state of pure bliss, never wanting the moment to end. But then, I woke up in the middle of the night to find that Emily was no longer by my side. I heard a sound from coming down the hallway and got up to investigate. As I walked down the hallway, I saw Emily standing there with a hinge in her hand. My heart raced as she pointed it at me and threatened me. I was in shock. How could this be happening? Emily told me that she'd been through a traumatic experience before, and she couldn't trust anyone completely. She'd come to my place to try to open up with me, but couldn't bring herself to do it. Instead, she saw the hinge and picked it up, feeling like it could be used as a weapon to protect herself. I tried to reason with her, telling her that she didn't have to be afraid of me, but she was too scared and ran away from the house, leaving me standing there in disbelief. I was devastated. I'd finally found someone I connected with on a deep level, and now she was gone. I couldn't stop thinking about what had happened, replaying the events in my mind over and over again. It was a horrifying experience that I'll never forget, but I also knew that Emily had gone through a lot of pain and trauma, and I hoped that she would finally find the peace and healing she deserved. Story number 2. I'm a regular guy, just like anyone else. I have a steady job, good friends. I'm looking for that special someone to share my life with. So I decided to give dating apps a try, hoping to find my match. That's when I downloaded Tinder, and everything started to go downhill. I matched with this woman named Sarah. Sarah seemed charming and attractive in her profile pictures, and we started chatting right away. After a few days of texting, we decided to meet up for a drink at a local bar. I was excited and nervous, hoping that this would be the beginning of something great. When I arrived at the bar, I saw Sarah sitting at a table waiting for me. She looked different from her pictures, but I didn't think much of it at the time. We started talking and having a good time, but something felt off. Sarah was a little too intense, asking a lot of personal questions and not giving me much space to talk. I brushed it off, thinking that she might just be nervous or excited to meet me. After a couple of drinks, Sarah suggested we go back to her place to continue the conversation. I hesitated at first, but thought, why not? That's when things started to take a dark turn. Sarah's apartment was cluttered and messy, with a strange smell that I couldn't quite place. She offered me another drink, and I accepted, thinking they might calm my nerves. That's when everything started to go blurry. I remember feeling dizzy and disoriented, and I knew something was wrong. I tried to get up and leave, but my legs wouldn't cooperate. Then I heard Sarah laughing, and I realized that I was in serious trouble. I woke up hours later, tied to a chair in a dimly lit room. Sarah was standing in front of me holding a knife. She started to laugh again, saying that I was going to be her forever love. I tried to break free from the ropes that were binding me, but they were too tight. Sarah continued to talk, saying that she'd been waiting for the right man to come along and that I was the one. She said that we were meant to be together forever, and that no one could stop us. I was terrified and didn't know what to do. I begged and pleaded with Sarah to let me go, but she just laughed and continued to talk about our future together. I knew that I had to escape, or I would never make it out alive. As Sarah turned her back to me, I saw an opportunity to break free. I struggled against the ropes and managed to loosen them just enough to slip out of them. I jumped up and ran towards the door, but Sarah caught me by the arm. We struggled for a few seconds, and I managed to push her away and ran out the door. I ran as fast as I could, not looking back until I was several blocks away. When I finally stopped to catch my breath, I realized that I had narrowly escaped with my life. I was lucky to be alive, and I knew that I would never use a dating app again. Looking back on that night, I shuddered to think of what might have happened if I hadn't escaped. Sarah was clearly unstable and dangerous, and I had no idea who I was dealing with. I urge anyone using dating apps to be careful and trust their instincts. You never know who you might be meeting, or what their intentions are. Story 3. I remember the night I hooked up with this girl from Hinge like it was yesterday. We were chatting about all sorts of things when the topic of piercings came up. She had a ton of visible piercings, and apparently some that weren't visible. I mentioned that I considered getting a nose piercing, but put it off because I was afraid it would hurt. The more I put it off, though, the less I wanted it. She playfully teased me about being a baby, and suggested we go on the date to drill together. I joked that we should probably wait until the end of the third date to become full dads, but the conversation eventually turned to other topics. Fast forward to our first date, and everything was going really well. We were enjoying some beer and wings when she said she had a surprise for me. I was excited and curious, wondering what it could be. She told me that she couldn't show me at the wings place, and I had to wait until we got out. The anticipation was building and building until we finally left, and I couldn't wait to see what she had in store for me. This girl was definitely a punk, with a jean jacket cut and 3 or 4 safety pins going through one of the necks. She took one of the safety pins and undid it, before I could even ask her what she was thinking. And then, before I knew it, she'd rammed the blade of the pin through both of her nostrils. She claimed it didn't hurt, but blood started dripping from her nostrils down to her lips. She then said, "Now you have no excuse not to," and insisted on piercing at least one of my nostrils. At first, I thought she was just joking and laughed it off, but she was determined to pierce my nostril and started physically trying to do it. I resisted and told her to get away from me, but she wouldn't listen. It was all happening so fast, and before I knew it, we were in the midst of a yelling match. She even accused me of being a baby for not letting her pierce me. I had no physical contact with her at all, aside from grabbing her wrist to keep her away from me, but the scene we were causing drew a small crowd of onlookers. Some people were worried about the girl's well-being, while others were accusing me of being violent with her. I tried to tell them it wasn't their business, but it only made things worse. In the end, I had to run away from the situation before things escalated even further. It was one of the scariest nights of my life. Looking back on that experience, I realise now how important it is to be careful who you meet on dating apps. Sure, they can be a great way to meet new people, but you never know what kind of craziness you might encounter. In hindsight, maybe a video date would have been a better idea. That way, I could have gotten a better sense of her personality and how intense she was before agreeing to meet up in person. As we wrap up this video, always remember, whether it's online dating or any other aspect of life, it's always important to exercise caution and be mindful of the people you connect with. While dating apps can be a convenient way to meet new people, it's crucial to take the time to get to know them and make sure you feel safe before meeting in person. So, stay smart, stay safe, and happy dating.